Nora is a very hard-working young girl. She tries all she can to assist her mother with the family responsibilities. Father Papa Ere appears to be a drunk. He was jobless. Nora will hawk Kwakoko every day just to help her mother. She dropped out of school because her parents could not pay her school fees. Despite all of Nora's effort, Nora's mom, Mama Ere, does not appreciate. She always tells Nora her effort is not good enough. Nora was constantly reminded of how she brings bad luck into the family. She was always compared to her friend Eladine, who lives in Douala. Mama Ere will tell Nora that the kind of try she wants is what Eladine is doing for her parents. The mere sights of Nora irritates Mama Ere. On the other, Nora has a best friend named Betty. Betty's parents were the opposite of Nora's parents. Betty's parents will constantly assure how they will do anything to make sure Betty finishes her education. Betty's mom, Mama B, always brings Betty closer to kitchen so she could learn how to cook. Mama B and Papa B was so close to Betty, she never hid anything from them. Every night before bed, Nora lay awake with the same questions circling her mind like restless birds. Why did my parents even give birth to me? Why does everything feel like a burden? She believed she had been born into responsibilities she never asked for. She compared herself constantly to her friend Betty, whose parents were poor, yet somehow Betty went to school, smiled easily, and didn't seem to suffer the way she did. Nora's thoughts always drifted to the same place. If only I could make money quickly. If only I could ease my parents' stress. Maybe then they would stop insulting me. Maybe then they would finally be proud. One afternoon, Nora and Betty were walking through the warm, busy streets of Limbe when a sleek car slowed beside them. To their surprise, their old friend Eladine stepped out, looking polished, confident, and wealthy. The girls called her name, and Eladine's face lit up. She invited them to a quiet spot where they could drink and catch up. The three of them walked together afterward, laughing like they used to. But Nora's mind was far away. She watched the way people stared at Eladine's clothes, her jewelry, her car. She imagined herself in that life, imagined her parents finally looking at her with pride instead of disappointment. Gathering courage, Nora asked if the car belonged to Eladine. Eladine smiled and said it was one of her cars. Nora and Betty exchanged stunned looks. Nora felt something tighten inside her, a mix of envy and longing. Betty admired the lifestyle too, but she had her own path, finishing school, making her parents proud the right way. The day before Eladine was set to return to Douala, the girls spent the afternoon with her. Nora finally asked if she could go along. Eladine agreed easily. When they turned to Betty, she hesitated. She knew her parents would never approve, but curiosity tugged at her, and she said yes. That night, Nora lay awake again, but this time her thoughts were racing. She planned how to leave without her parents noticing. They won't miss me, she told herself. They hate me anyway. I'm just a burden. Across town, Betty was also awake, but for different reasons. She believed in honesty. Her parents had taught her never to hide anything from them. She knew they wouldn't let her go, but she had never been to Douala, and the temptation was strong. Morning came. Eladine arrived in her car, and Nora slipped inside without looking back. As they drove away, Nora felt a rush of excitement. She believed leaving Limbe meant freedom, peace, and Nora's new life in Douala began the moment she stepped out of Eladine's car. Everything felt fast, loud, and exciting. Eladine introduced her to wealthy men, and soon the nights blurred into a cycle of clubs, loud music, and expensive outings. That was how they made their money. They called themselves high-class babes, convinced they were living the dream. In the car, Nora and Eladine would talk endlessly about the men they met and how much money they had made. Nora received more than she ever imagined. One man in particular, Mr. Suli, took a special interest in her. He invited her to his mansion, eager to impress her. Nora, wanting to show gratitude, cooked dinner for them both. While they ate, Eladine called to check on her, and the girls laughed like everything was perfect. Back home in Limbe, Nora's mother called often. Not to ask how she was, but to ask for money. Nora sent it without hesitation. For the first time, her mother sounded proud of her. and that alone made Nora feel like she had finally done something right. Months passed, and Nora eventually moved into Mr. Sully's mansion. She and Eladine celebrated their success with glasses of wine, convinced they had escaped the struggles of their past. It was the freedom Nora once dreamed of. But freedom came with silence. Mr. Sully was rarely home. Nora slept alone most nights, wandering through the large house with no one to talk to. The excitement faded, replaced by a loneliness she had never known. Meanwhile, Betty's life took a different turn. She passed her advanced level exams and earned admission to study law at the University of Buea. Her parents encouraged her as she left for school, and she soon found new companions who shared her goals and values. Her path was slow, steady, and honest. One night, while studying late, Betty couldn't sleep. She turned on the news and froze. Eladine had been found dead in a hotel room. Betty's heart broke. She cried, terrified for her friend and for Nora. She wished she could warn them, pull them back, do something. At Mr. Sully's mansion, the news of Eladine's death hit Nora like a storm. Fear rushed through her. She hurried to the closet, determined to pack her things and leave Douala immediately. But as she reached for her bag, she noticed a suitcase she had never seen before. Curiosity pushed her to open it. Inside were stacks of money, red garments, and objects she didn't recognize but instantly feared. Her heart pounded. She stepped back and whispered in terror, "Mr. Sully, what is this?" Her voice rose into a scream. Sully, who had unexpectedly returned home, heard her. He rushed into the room, demanding to know why she was shouting. Their argument escalated quickly. In the chaos, Nora fell and was badly hurt. She was rushed to the hospital. The doctor later told Sully that Nora had suffered a severe injury to her spine and brain. She might never walk again. Sully, overwhelmed and unwilling to take responsibility, left the hospital and never returned. While Nora lay in a hospital bed, fighting pain and loneliness, Betty was graduating as a lawyer. Her hard work had paid off. She bought a home for her parents and later secured a position as a company lawyer in Yaoundé. Her life was rising steadily, built on discipline and patience. Weeks later, Nora was sent back to Limbe because the hospital could no longer keep her without support. Bedridden and unable to care for herself, she returned to a home that offered no comfort. Her mother, instead of compassion, reminded her again of how much of a burden she was. She compared her to Betty, praising Betty's success while cursing Nora for her failures. Betty called Nora often, offering what comfort she could. But Nora's regret grew heavier each day. She realized she had sacrificed her safety, her dignity, and her future trying to please a mother who never saw her worth. Her pain, physical and emotional, became too much to carry. Nora passed away quietly, leaving behind a story filled with lessons about pressure, choices, and the cost of seeking validation in the wrong places. Her funeral was attended by her mother, Betty, and others who had known her. Betty wept for the friend she had loved, the girl who had wanted nothing more than to be valued. A true story.
The words you speak to your child can shape their future or destroy it. Nora's path ended in tragedy.
2 paths, 2 outcomes, 1 message. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.